think we are as good as we're going to get for this evening. So thank you all for your patience. It is 7:05. I will call to order the September 3rd meeting of the Amity City Council. Please rise and join me in saluting the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tasha, will you take roll first, please?
Yep. Counselor Melissa Bajorquez. Present. Counselor Rachel Blanco.
Present.
Counselor Caleb Shields.
Here.
Counselor Alice Thompson.
Here.
Counselor Michael Blanco.
Here.
On Zoom, and Counselor Chad Luker
Present.
is on Zoom, and Mayor Rachel King.
Here. Thank you. We will start the evening with the consent agenda. We have budget versus actuals, the minutes from the regular July council meeting, August council meeting, and the council work session minutes from July 16th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. We'll move on to citizen comments and questions. This is an opportunity to present items not on the regular agenda. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. I don't see a representative from the Yamhill County Sheriff's Office, but we have their report. Do we have a DIG representative this evening? Awesome.
Would you just push the button on that microphone? Hold it. Push and hold it until it turns on. Is it on?
I checked it. It should. Yeah.
It looks like it's on.
Sorry, I was looking for that red ring. You're good.
Eve Silverman, Amity Dig.
Erin Rainey, and also with Amity Dig.
So I haven't met some of you council members, so hello. We sort of lost a little bit of momentum when the COVID started, aside from continuing with the Daffodil Festival, but we're here to tell you that we're looking at reconfiguring and re-energizing ourselves. And there's several of us who have been meeting since the beginning of August, once a week for a while, to be able to figure out how we're going to move ahead and encourage new businesses that are new since we've been inactive, to participate more. And so one of the things that we are going to be doing is a survey for businesses, and then we want to hold a meeting. And the meeting is scheduled on October 22nd. There was an announcement in the Grapevine, and what we're hoping to do is give an overview of what we've done in the past, but move forward to more things in the future. We've been a member of the Main Street program for a number of years, and we're hoping to encourage others to participate in that, to that end, which includes reinventing the organization and developing the organization, to do some promotions that are of interest to everyone, not only the business owners, but to residents in Amity. Design in terms of retaining the historic nature of our community and the downtown especially, and as well, and as economic vitality as well. So we'll have the slideshow, we'll have results of the survey, and see if anyone is interested in joining us in any of those key areas to help move forward and get us back on the map in Amity.
Wonderful.
Erin, did you want to talk about the Daffodil Festival?
Yeah, so one of the things that the Amity Dig has been still fully functional is the Amity Daffodil Festival. And am I doing that? Anyway, so We are also starting discussions on that, and we will have meetings separate from the DIG meetings. But to get going on that, Melissa's just gotten the artwork that was all created last year, and we had a selection of pieces that we'd like to perpetuate, and t-shirts and different things. So we're getting going on that, and just some other ideas we had to make it better than it was, but it's just really fun. And so anyway, DIG's still right there in that, and just moving on through that, and to, you know, offer something like that for the community too.
And if you have any other suggestions about how we can involve the community and the business association, it seems as if it's been the same few people for the number of years, and we really, it's not an exclusive group. We want to include others, new ideas, new thoughts, so that would be great. And we hope that number of people will attend in October, and there'll be something in your newsletter again for the election. Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing. Do we have any other members of the audience with a public comment or question this evening? Okay, do we have anyone with us online for citizen comment or question? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to old business, and tonight we have none. Moving on to new business, we have quite a bit. So our first item tonight is a voting delegate for the LOC annual business meeting. The background kind of says it all. Coming up in October, the LOC will hold its 100th annual conference, and part of that is the annual business meeting. And so because now they let you attend that portion virtually, we just wanted to assign delegates for that voting spot and the alternate.
So are you planning to attend the meeting?
Yeah,
already?
Nathan
Okay.
and I will both
Great.
be attending the conference, so we'll both be there at the business meeting.
So are we nominating you as a delegate and Nathan as a backup?
It is up to you. Because we can attend virtually, anyone on the council, any member can take that role.
And Nathan could also take that role?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm out of town that weekend and unavailable remotely as well, so I'm gonna bow out personally. Anybody else
I'm gonna be gone as well.
chomping at it?
I am out of town that day and week.
We didn't necessarily know how to word this, just not say, hey, do you guys want to nominate us? But we will both be in attendance and able to, so.
Willing to serve?
Willing and able.
That's great news.
Fantastic.
So if I had a motion, we have the wording there, and it's kind of a fill in the blank.
I move to approve resolution number 2025-13, a resolution identifying a voting delegate and one alternative voting delegate to represent the city at the League of Oregon Cities 2025 annual business meeting. Mayor Rachel King is the voting delegate, and City Manager Nathan Fark is the alternate voting delegate.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2025-13, approving Mayor Rachel King as a voting delegate and Nathan Fark as the alternate. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Resolution passes. Thank you. Just a little bit of business to take care of. Our next item is House Bill 4134 Agreement Amendment. So, Nathan, is there anything you want to add?
Nothing specific. So the item before you tonight is just an amendment to that agreement with Business Oregon. Basically, it's just Business Oregon saying, hey, our funding authority only goes through June 30th of 2027. We can't extend it past that. and acknowledges that in the agreement through that amendment. To add to this, though, I did want to just let the council know, I recently, like in the last couple days, received the 30 to 50% design for this project for the Oak Street widening and other improvements, pavement widening and other improvements, and talked through them with the engineers. There's still a lot of questions to address, a lot of things to work through to make it a project that we're excited about, but well, we're excited about it. It's coming either way, but there's still a lot of things to kind of figure out and get balanced. So I'll be moving forward with that, but I think this is going to take, figuring out some of the answers to these questions is going to take some solid community engagement. So if you see me down on Oak, or if you see me put out news about an Oak Street, community meeting or something, please feel free to let me know if you want to come help me. Engage with the residents that live in that area about what exactly they would like to see and what makes the most sense. So.
Thank you for the update. Yeah, and it really is just striking through the lines and putting in June 30th, 2027 as the cutoff date for funding, which our project will fall within and before that anyways, so that change won't affect our timeline at all.
I move to approve the requested amendment to the Oak Street Improvement Grant Agreement.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the requested amendment to the Oak Street Improvement Grant Agreement. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes.
Mayor, who's the no? He has to state his name since he said no to the project.
Oh, could our no vote please state their name?
Michael Blanco.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is the Safe Routes to School Plan Approval. Ethan, did you happen to print out a copy of this at all?
I did not print a copy, no.
I have it in mind. Do you want it?
I don't necessarily need it. I was just wondering if that happened before approval or not. I wanted to just see if everyone got a chance to look that through. It's kind of a big, important document that a lot of work went into. So I don't want to take this item too lightly, but especially when we get a finished product that's already had a draft come out and has already had time for community input. Now is not the time to hear the first issues you might have with this, since we've been working on it for a year and a half. But with that, are there any questions or concerns? I'm really excited for this to be adopted and for us to have this as guidance. A lot of work did go into it. It's really thorough. I want to reiterate that it doesn't mean we have to proceed with all these plans in a specific order, but as funding and opportunities arise, it gives us a really data-driven, community-driven outline of the things that we can strive to pursue incrementally as those things come up. Yeah.
If I can provide a kind of a tangential update, if there's any conversation or communication about the Safe Routes to School Plan, we can focus on that too. That's what the agenda item's about. I also wanted to let the council know, while talking about school routes and things like that, though, ODOT did reach out. They'll be removing the school zone signage on Church and 99 through that area, right through the bridge and that area on the south end of town, because the middle school is no longer in use. There's still some debate. I went back and forth with them a little bit. They also are looking at removing the Getchell street crossing signage because the Safe Routes to School plan doesn't designate Getchell as a safe route to school, even as an existing one. And I tried to explain that, well, yeah, we would love to use Oak. Oak makes a lot more sense. And basically their pushback was they can't put up signage for a crosswalk that's not fully built out yet. The facilities, the sidewalk facilities on Oak just aren't there quite yet. And so I tried to say, well, can we leave the signage on Getchell until we can switch it to Oak? And the answer was very mixed. Possibly if I get them a plan that claims Getchell as a safe route to school. So it was a frustrating conversation, but I'm going to continue working to find a way to keep some sort of signage along Nursery Street, just so that, because I recognize that there are a lot of kids crossing Nursery Street to get from, Goucher, Jealous, and Oak up to the high school, middle school. And hopefully with some coming improvements both to Oak Street and with the ODOT ADA curb ramps, we can work in some longer term facilities and some improved sidewalk facilities at Oak or at Jellison, wherever the plan lists Oak as a primary crossing, right? So hopefully we can work on that as well, but in the meantime, I am trying to figure out a way to keep some sort of signage. So.
But what I'm hearing is the ultimate goal would be to eventually reinstate a school speed zone on Nursery near the crossing?
That would almost warrant a different discussion. I got some feedback from ODOT that the 20-mile-an-hour school zone speed limit is because the school is not adjacent to, it's only enforceable when there is a child in the crosswalk. And so if there's a child in the crosswalk, hopefully cars are coming to a stop anyway, so it doesn't be a lot of enforcement opportunity. And so I don't know if the speed, that's something we can discuss further.
Just like down here on North Trade.
Yes.
Where
Yep.
it's only when children are present. Okay.
Yep.
Not to derail us an entire step farther, but I feel like it needs to be said. The corner sidewalk at Nursery and Oak right now on the north side that students are trying to start to use is completely out of commission and covered with plywood and signs, and has been that way for multiple weeks. Do we know what's going on?
I know that PG just shifted that power pole and replaced the sidewalk. I'll follow up with them to see.
Okay.
It should be cured by now.
Okay.
It's been a while, but
It's been a couple of days of students not being able to cross at that most populated crosswalk because that corner is out of commission. So, thank you. Okay. Back to safe routes to schools. Any comments or questions on this plan?
It's like kudos to everybody who's spent a lot of time working on this. It looks really nice.
Agreed.
Erin, I guess I would use my business on downtown, the rain flower. And I wonder if is the safe routes to school a crossing of the highway there included in the plan?
So this plan in particular shows multiple options for all of the crossings pretty much down in the corridor. So it doesn't show one specific thing. It shows the crossing at 6th and Nursery. It shows each of the crossings going down and all the potential treatments to upgrade those crossings.
Well, it's just, I know that Jim, who is a patron of has contacted ODOT about getting across the street just for where he lives, across the street into the downtown buildings there for the businesses. And so ODOT came out to visit with him, and And so I don't know that he's been involved in any of the discussion, but he is very interested in having the crosswalk as the one right in front of the Trade Street Commons. And that is where all the students cross. And anyway, when ODOT comes out, then they push the crosswalk to 46, and just a lot of discussion about that. Anyway, I feel like there needs to be some discussion about that, and what we'd like to have is a crosswalk that flashed, and the ODOT comment was if we wanted people to slow down, then we need more deputies to give tickets. But I actually, as a pedestrian, don't really care. Across the street, when I did that, that would make me feel safer. Out there writing tickets that might write them when I'm not there.
So I would invite you and everyone, once this, because we do have a final draft now, this does show all the recommended treatments for each crossing. And so once funding was secured and a plan, was in place, that's when we could invite people for input on those specific projects that the council plans to move forward with. This is just an outline showing
That we want them.
yes, this is the flow of students getting to schools. These are the routes that they use. Of course, it's not just students in this town. That was the focus of this. But even so, all those are outlined, and it has a matrix of potential treatment. So anything from different paint on the ground to the rapid response flashing beacon.
And so if that wouldn't be at a city council meeting, I should be sure to be able to contact Jim. I forget what his last name is. He's really interested in getting away across the street from too. So then I can let him know to come too.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and I also want to thank all the school administration. We had all the principals and the superintendent in on this. APAT had representatives. We had community involvement. A lot of people's inputs. And Nathan for going back and forth with all the questions and concerns through emails for the last few months to get this in front of us.
I think this is a comprehensive and great plan. Well thought out in a lot of different areas. It's exciting to have this moving forward to help in funding as well.
It really does lend to the opportunities for the construction grants. I mean, we got a grant to do this plan, but that next phase is taking these projects and applying for construction funds. Yes, that's exciting. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the final draft of the Amity Safe Routes to School Plan.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the final draft of the Amity Safe Routes to School Plan. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. Oh, the next one is fun. Let me make sure I'm on the right item. We have the purchase of electric utility trucks carbon reduction program. Nathan, do you want to give a quick rundown just of your background on this?
Yeah, so in 2024, the city of Amity was awarded a carbon reduction program grant through the Oregon Department of Transportation. Essentially, this grant was provided to the city to purchase 2 new electric utility vehicles. Since that time, ODOT's been working through the federal procurement process and all of the paperwork that goes along with federal funding. And so in late July of this year, 2025, I received word that the environmental review had been completed and that we had the notice to proceed with our purchase. We'll then be reimbursed after purchasing the vehicles. So I sought out 3 quotes from some local Ford dealers. I went to Chuck Colvin Ford here in McMinnville, Newburgh Ford in Newburgh, and then Northside Ford in Portland. Northside Ford specializes in trucks for businesses and fleets. The lowest price was found at Northside Ford, and so now I am requesting authority from City Council to move ahead with that vehicle purchase. We purchased the vehicles, and then we'll be reimbursed by ODOT. We're still working by way of other update, we're still working on finalizing plans for chargers at Public Works. I believe once we move forward with, I've been told that once we move forward with the purchase at Ford will be reaching out. We've talked to Pacific Office Automation and reached out to a couple of other vendors as well, trying to look at options. PGE can help with some of the engineering and stuff. It's just a matter of making that next step. If we were to get the trucks before we had chargers fully installed, they do come with cords. So they can still trickle charge. It'll be slow, but as little as our Public Works tends to use them, I think they'll be fine.
I not sure I want to scroll through 150 plus pages to find it. Do you happen to have the total purchase price?
I do, yeah. So the.
I mean, I know I read it, but I just.
Yeah.
Started to cross my eyes.
So the low quote from Northside Ford came in at $61,413
Thank you.
per vehicle. Sorry, that's one. So 2 of them would be double that.
Did you find out about the maintenance part of it? Can
So-
it go to town?
So maintenance, that's a good question. Tasha brought up maintenance on them. Maintenance can be done at any Ford dealership. They also, unless we pay extra, they don't necessarily come with extra warranty maintenance, right? Like, they come with a standard factory warranty. I don't really know. And I'm not sure of the maintenance schedule on electric vehicles. That'll be kind of a learning curve for us. But I have been reassured that any Ford dealer should be able to handle them just fine, even if we wanted to purchase extra like maintenance packages or warranty packages. So.
Yes.
I just wondered about when you're in talks with PGE about a charging station, would it be ever thought about public charging station that people could, other people could use? And, would that be on the city property and, all those things about how that works? But I think it's kind of an issue.
So
And getting to be more so.
we have an item next on our agenda, and we have PGE on the Zoom right now to
okay.
talk about that.
Oh,
Yep,
okay, very good.
you're in luck.
So these ones, because they're public works vehicles, will be at our public works lot and behind a fence. So these ones won't necessarily be publicly accessible, but there has been talk, there has been thought about publicly accessible electric vehicle chargers for sure.
Any comments, questions, or concerns?
I move to authorize the city administrator to carry out the purchase of 2 electric utility vehicle trucks.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to authorize the city administrator to carry out the purchase of 2 electric utility trucks, each for $61,413. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no.
No.
And that was,
Counselor Luker?
thank you. Motion passes. Next, we have PGE Municipal Pole EV Chargers, and we have, who do we have with us? Where did my meeting go?
Adam Reese.
Adam Reese.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Just real quick introduction. So my name is Adam Reese. I am the program manager for PGE's Municipal Pole Charging Program. I do have a really quick presentation just to kind of give you a little bit of background about the program, and then hoping to answer any questions you have about the 3 locations that we found in Amity for these pole chargers. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this. Share my screen. 1 second. I'm gonna have to use it in this window. Oh, Nathan, I'm still disabled to share my screen.
You should be okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. I apologize when I go into presentation mode. I don't use Zoom very often. We usually use Teams. So can you all see this? It's just okay. Perfect. All right. So just quick background about the program. So we've been doing this since 2023, and we are currently working with, I want to say 10 or 11 different cities. We have up to 77 chargers now between Milwaukee, Gresham, Salem, Woodburn, Cornelius, and Oregon City. So we're rolling these out across PGE's territory, and the way it works is the state of Oregon passed a law called House Bill 2165. I believe it was back in 2021 or 2022, which required that all utilities with 25,000 or more customers had to collect funds for specifically for transportation electrification. And so that's where the money comes from this program, and that's what guides this program on where we can and cannot put chargers. And so the House Bill 2165 compels us to put chargers in underserved communities, and those can be one or multiple of a whole list of around 10 different things. So either a high number of multifamily, so like apartment buildings, a high number of rental properties, specifically kind of looking for areas that have limited access to off-street parking. We also look at lower income areas, and then also we look at rural or frontier areas, because in those areas there's less chargers available to people who want to use EVs. So the program is specifically focused on trying to find poles within PGE's territory that meet those requirements for the way that the state of Oregon defined underserved. And so we've been doing this for a couple of years now. The program is going to only do installs through 2025. So we only have a few months left to find locations and get these installed. And then it's going to shift entirely to just operation and maintenance. So the plan right now is to have it run through 2030. So PGE is covering all of the costs and the operation and maintenance of the equipment and the installation. And all that we're really asking for from municipalities like Amity is your support, essentially your approval to put these chargers in, because we will not move forward without your sign off on these locations. And these are some pictures of what the charger looks like. This is one of our chargers in Milwaukee. It's one of our more successful chargers, and they don't really look like much. They just kind of look like any other piece of equipment that gets installed on a pole. It goes about 10 feet up on the pole. It's a little canister, and someone would drive up. There's a little QR code that's right at street level. You'd have an app on your phone. You scan the QR code. That brings up the station. You engage it. It'll drop down a cable that can go up to 25 feet. You plug in, and these are the slower charge L2s, so usually can take anywhere between 4 to 8 hours to charge a car. And so typically, we're looking for people to be able to park somewhere and charge for a while. Let's see. I'm going to keep moving along, so we need to make this short. So this kind of goes through what we already have. So Gresham, Salem, Portland. Our goal was to do 180 by the end of 2025. I don't think we're going to probably hit that. We're hoping to hit around 170 by the end of this year. So obviously we would love to be able to add a few in Amity. And so as I mentioned, this is a little bit about the site selection in terms of House Bill 2165. which I already covered. The other aspect, though, is just the physical limitations of what we're looking for on these poles. I've probably looked at around 20,000 poles personally because they have to be a relatively clean pole. They can't have much on them. So they can't have risers on them. They can't have other equipment from like Comcast or Ziply. It has to be on paved road. There has to be a curb. So there's a lot of limitations that prevent us using poles, and so we've only really found a few hundred that work, which is why it's really fortunate that we were able to find a few in Amity that we would love to do. And then just to kind of quickly show you which ones we found. So there's 3 locations: 316 Pacific Highway, 402 South Trade Street, and 598 Oregon 99 West, which is right by that market. And then these are some of the different photos. So this is the one on 316 Pacific, which is right by the Chevron. This is the one that's on 599. So the addresses are a little bit weird because the poles themselves don't have their own address. So our program that we look at the pole locations, it pulls the nearest address. So this one is located right next to that market. And the third one is 499 South Trade Street, which is just kind of further. They're all kind of just down the main drag through town. So that's kind of my short presentation. What questions do you all have? What can I answer to help the process?
You had mentioned that the program goes through 2030. After that point, is PGE not going to service them or maintain them anymore, or is it just up in the air for funding?
So the lifespan of the chargers is typically about 5 years, and this is just a pilot. So I haven't really been told yet by the higher ups what the plan is after those 5 years. I think that they're going to probably be revisiting it with every single city that's participating to decide what to do. If the chargers are still working very well and they're getting used, there's an opportunity to either just give them to the city or potentially sell them to the city at a very small cost. I've heard a couple of different options. It's not necessarily that it's just going to end, but I haven't really been told like a clear directive on what the plan is after those 5 years.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah, sure.
Are there any less than optimum but doable locations in Amity?
Unfortunately, no. These are really the 3 that we were able to find, and trust me, I went through all the streets. A lot of the other poles don't have a curb or paved parking, which are 2 major barriers. And really, these 3 locations are great because they're not in front of someone's house, and that's where we get most of the pushback. Is that a lot of our chargers are located in front of people's homes in other cities, and a lot of people don't like having a charger directly in front of their house. So these 3 locations are actually great because they're not in front of someone's home. They're actually, near businesses, they're near parks, they're near, places that people could potentially walk to if they wanted to plug in and go spend some time maybe eating at a restaurant or shopping at the market, that kind of thing. And we've shown that those have the highest usage. I mean, these locations, these would probably have some of the highest usage that our program would have just because of where they're located.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Adam? All right. Well, thank you for explaining the program and giving us some insight into those spaces.
Yeah, definitely. Let me know if you have any other questions. Again, we would love to continue to work with your city. Nathan's been fantastic. So, just let us know, but we would love to put some chargers out there, especially if you're getting some new EVs.
Yes.
I have an additional question. If a location is chosen and say like the lighting is dimmer in that area at night, would PGE also cover the cost of maybe upgrading the bulbs or anything that would make it visible or easier to use in the evening?
We can definitely do that. PGE's department that handles street lighting has a whole process, and we actually did that with a few different locations in Salem. But I think it does involve working with the city on installing those lights. So, but we can definitely do that. So, just tell me which one you would want to do that for, and I could start looking into it.
And then Nathan, I want to ask, did you get any more clarification on where the bus shelter will be relocated? Because the 402 or the 498, we've heard both ways, the middle one.
Seems about where the bus shelter
It
would be.
seems about where we heard they will be moving the bus shelter to, and I know that with the ADA work and the bus shelter movement, I don't know that we would want to commit to that space until we know that it's not going to be blocked off by either needing to extend the no parking area or the bus shelter is moving there. I felt like in the past we had consensus on the most north spot being a good one, and then I would just want to bring back up for discussion the one nearest the market, because I know that had the most potential issue.
Yeah, I continue to have concerns about, in a place where the downtown parking is at such a premium, of having a prime spot tied up for 48 hours.
Did you say 4 to 8 hours or 4
So
to 8?
yeah, so 4 to 8. However, so first of all, we aren't restricting the parking. So, and that's totally up to the city. Some of the cities are actually, so Milwaukee, for example, they are restricting it as EV only. But most of the cities are not doing that. We are putting in, we'll have actually already put in idle fees. So if somebody plugs in and their car is finished charging and they don't move the car, they will get an idle fee. So that's one thing that PGE has put in to try to encourage people to move their car once they're done. The other thing is, like, it's totally up to you. If you wanted to put a restriction on how long someone could sit there and park, that's totally fine. Like, PGE is totally open to any types of alterations or caveats that you want to put in for so if you wanted to limit it to only 3 to 4 hours of parking or something like that, that's totally fine. We have no concerns about that.
Thank you.
I feel like even 4 hours right there is a long time.
I agree, especially because that market is not really a go in and browse market as much as it is I know what I want, I know where it is, I've gone there, I've gotten it, and I'm out in 10 minutes.
And it does have a parking lot. So even not
Yeah.
just for market patrons, but for people who are going anywhere on that strip there.
I have a very unpopular opinion that I'm going to share with this group, in that if we are not looking to have a flashing beacon at that intersection because it's now farther from the schools, I think that we need to think about whether we need to have a parking spot there at all, because of how badly it blocks the visibility pulling off of 6th Street. When you get any vehicle parked in that very first spot, you cannot see people crossing, and you cannot see whether it's safe to pull out on the highway. So I had a thought that if that was a spot and it was EV only, maybe it would not be used as much and there would be less parking there, right? But I don't think that we should go that route hoping no one uses it. But just in general, the way I feel about that parking spot is it should not exist because of its proximity to the crosswalk. Well, yeah, and we don't have that in just really as a driver in the city and a pedestrian who uses that crosswalk, that's a problematic space for cars to be.
Well, I think it's also problematic because a good portion of what it's used for is semi-trucks loading and unloading. The business is right there as well. So I think that's why there's so much visual blockage in that space.
I don't feel like
right in that
Oh,
spot.
like the
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually have problems with the trucks parking across the driveway into the parking lot there, so you can't get in or out until they're done.
I'm still really in favor of having it at 316 Trade. I think that that's a really ideal spot.
I'm seeing a head nod and a head shake, both from that side of the table. What is the timeline for us to find out about the bus shelter and the Chevron spot? Do you think?
Is that more a question for Adam of how soon he needs to know, or?
Well, both. How soon can you find out, and how
I mean,
how soon do you need, because I don't feel like this council is ready to say yes to any except for the one tonight without more clarification on the bus shelter, and then that would still warrant more discussion, just having more information.
assuming ODOT is the one moving the bus shelter and knows where it is, I can get it tomorrow. I can get that information tomorrow.
And then,
If they're not sure, then it's through Yamhill County Transit, and in theory, I can still get it tomorrow. I haven't had as much luck getting a hold of Yamhill County Transit all the time, but should still be able to.
okay. And then Adam, how soon do you need to know to be able to get this out by the end of the year?
I don't have like an exact cutoff date, but really just the sooner the better, because it's taking us about a month and a half to go through the full process of getting it installed. We send out. I guess I didn't cover that. So if you said, yeah, let's do 2 out of the 3 or 1 out of the 3, we send out postcards and emails to all customers within a quarter mile of that pole to let them know, hey, this is coming. And then we usually wait about 1 or 2 weeks before we do the install, after we've sent those out. So that takes a little bit of time, and then we have to fit this into our schedule. So we do actually have a lot that are in our queue right now to try to get them, installed before the end of the year. So it's taking about a month and a half to go from like getting it designed, getting the communication sent out, getting it installed, and then we have to have like our line crew go out and hook it up, and then we commission it. So it's taking about a month and a half, and the main concern I have right now is that December is going to be very hard to get any work done in, because there's just so many people out of office, and I'm kind of expecting, like, if I can't get it done by the very beginning of December, like the last steps of it, then it's going to be hard to finish it before the end of the year. So sooner the better,
So
but
I
probably
guess,
by no later than October.
okay, I guess I'm wondering if we had consensus on and a vote on one of these tonight, we would still have the opportunity to come back potentially in a few weeks to next month's meeting and say, hey, we would like you to add another one if that's still possible? Or would you rather wait and hear about more than one?
I would say if there's one you want to for sure want to do, let's do that. Let's get that out of the way so I can get that in the queue. And then if you determine that you want to do one of the other ones in a few weeks, then we can still try to squeeze it in.
I mean, is there a level of comfort on the
Can we hear from all the
316?
counselors on this? The ones online as well?
Counselor Luker, do you have input to share?
Yeah, I would like to wait to see what ODOT has to say about the bus stop area, and I do not want to put one at the market. I think the north location is great. I think there's too much congestion there at the market. It's tough to get out as it is.
Okay. Thank you. Counselor Blanco, online?
I am okay with the 398 Pacific Highway side. The other two, I'd like some more information on and to take a better look at it because of interference, I haven't been able to hear much of the conversation. But the
Okay.
one site, the most northern one, I'm good with that one.
Okay. Counselor Rachel Blanco, how are you feeling about these three?
I think 316 is great. I think the 498, if that one does not conflict with the bus stop, I think is awesome. And then I'm not in favor of the market one.
Counselor Shields?
I'm also in favor of the northern one, and if the bus stop is not gonna interfere, I'm fine with that one. I personally, my biggest concern is impact to the business that's right there, because that is one of their, like, high change out parking spots. I mean, to Rachel's point, that's where you stop to jump in and jump out and get something. I would like whether they like the idea of it or if they hate the idea of it. I mean, I think they should have a legitimate voice, have some input on that before we make a decision. But that's just my opinion.
Council President Enriquez?
I am good with 316. I think that's a great location. I have hesitations about the other two, even if the bus stop moves.
Counselor Thompson?
Yeah, 316 is a yes for me. 498, depending on the bus stop, I think is a possible good option. And then 598, I'm not in favor, but I do like the idea. Let's give the businesses a chance to say yea or nay, and I think that helps them our decision. If they say a nay, then that's easy, and if they say yes, then that's.
So hearing from everyone, I feel like there's enough consensus. I'm going to call for a vote. And then Nathan, are you okay doing some follow-up on the bus stop situation? And then also either you, I, or the council president can maybe touch base with the market?
Yep.
And we can touch base with DIG as well to see if they have.
I have one other question.
Yes.
Mr. Reese,
Yes, sir.
do you have any data on how many users of these use them for partial charges rather than full charges?
I do think that data exists. I'd have to try to dig it up, but we usually
I'm
can
just curious
tell.
as to how
Yeah,
many people might only be there for an hour or 2 hours rather than long-term to fully charge a vehicle.
we have data on how long people charge. We can look at session data. I'm not entirely sure if we know how big of a car they have, so I don't know if we're sure that whether they charged full.
Sure.
We might have that. We just changed software to a different provider, so we're kind of working through their data that they can provide to us. We definitely can look at how long people charge for, so I can look at that. Not entirely sure about percentage of charge.
Okay, yeah, that would be interesting to find that out.
If you could
Yeah.
share that with Nathan, please, I think that would be helpful to know.
Yep, I can definitely dig into that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with some staff direction out, do I have a motion on this item?
I move to approve PG's installation of pole chargers at the following location of 316 South Trade.
I have a motion and a second to approve PGE's installation of their municipal pole chargers at the following location, 316 South Trade. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes, and we will follow up with you, Adam, just to see get some information, get some more information from elsewhere, and I know Nathan will be in touch. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is Fifth and Stanley Waterline Contract Award. Nathan, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I feel like this is another one of our never-ending water line projects, but this is a very exciting milestone in that we have a great project, we have bids out, we have intent to proceed on that, so quick rundown, please.
Yes, thank you. So the city I'm going to give the full context. I don't know if some of our city councilors haven't been with us for all of it. So the city of Amity originally received this funding from the Safe Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund in order to pay for an upgrade of the city's transmission line while ODOT was replacing the Salt Creek Bridge. The original estimates for that project varied quite widely. I think ODOT first told the city about 600,000, and then that estimate came back closer to maybe 1.2 million. And so the city worked with the funder, Safe Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund in this case, to essentially bring up that available loan funding to 1.2 million. Then somewhere in COVID hit, Yamhill County, or ARPA dollars started coming through. Yamhill County then granted the city 600,000 to also be used toward the Salt Creek Bridge waterline replacement. And so in early 2023, that work happened. When it finally, was completed, everything panned out, the city learned that the total cost, ODOT's cost, or the construction cost for that project, was just a bit over 600,000. So we used all of the ARPA loan fund, or ARPA funding from the Yamhill County, and didn't use very much of the Safe Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund. We had used some, about 125,000 of that loan funding for pre-design and other administrative work on the front end. But then construction was just 600,000 instead of the 1.2 million originally estimated. And so that, after that all penciled out, that left the city of Amity with available loan funding of approximately $1 million at a 1% interest rate. In June of 2024, the City Council directed city staff to pursue an amendment to the loan agreement to allow us to use that funding for some additional waterline work. 1% interest is hard to pass up when it's available. And so we have the funding. We were able to secure that amendment to the loan agreement to allow further waterline work as long as it was connected to the Salt Creek Bridge project. And so basically we just extended that water line, that 10-inch water line that we replaced across the bridge into the city. And so we designed the 5th and Stanley waterline project. That's been under design for, about a year. And we just went out to bid a few weeks ago. We received bids last Wednesday, and we opened bids last Wednesday at 2 p.m. The lowest apparent responsive and responsible bid for the project was Haworth Inc. With a low bid of $768,968. Overall, the city received 6 bids in that range. A few of them in that high 700,000 range, and then a couple in the $1 million range. After opening the bids, the notice of intent to award was provided to participating bidders, who had until this evening, Wednesday, September 3rd at 5 p.m. to notify the city if they wished to protest. We didn't receive any notification of protest. The low bid fit within the city's available loan funding with approximately $10,000 remaining. So it was close, but we made it through. And so now city staff is requesting that the city council award that 5th and Stanley waterline contract to the low bidder. The construction for this project needs to be done by the end of the year, so we're trying to move forward as quickly as possible.
And during your pre-bid meetings and the conversation you've had, you've made that very clear that it's a very tight timeline, so they are fully aware when they put out a bid for this project.
We did, yes, that it has to be done by the end of the year.
Great. And that's like underlined and bold in the contract.
Multiple times, yep.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yes, Councilor
What
Ball.
happens when they don't finish by the end of the year?
Generally, Business Oregon has been a good partner and willing to work with us. I think I may have asked that question. I don't know if I've heard a response yet. Technically, contractually, if they don't finish by the end of the year, there are penalties. The contract is set to finish with substantial completion, I want to say December 15th, maybe December 30th. It's somewhere in there. And then we have until the end of January to finish up paperwork. But we said in the contract documents, I suppose they're not held to it until they actually sign the contract, but yeah, there are measures in place. They really need to finish by the end of the year. If it came down to it and we were a few weeks off, Business Oregon might be able to help us, or they may not. I don't know with the federal funding landscape. So I'll keep that communication open with Business Oregon, but most of our communication with all of our communication with the contractor is going to be that we have to finish by the end of the year.
I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that they have left this funding open to us for 4 years now. They want us to use it, but also they want to close up this project. Until the whole time this is open, they aren't able to, it's a revolving loan fund. So we need to finish up our project and start paying them back so they can let someone else start a project. Like, they're really tired of hearing the city of Amity say, oh, we need a little bit more time. But they also have been good partners, and I think we're getting better and better at outlining those contracts to let contractors know, like, there will be penalties. We will make it not worth your time to not meet these obligations. So, yeah.
Okay.
Good. And I want to say it was Councilor Shields that really looked at this 18-month timeline and said, can we do it? And so far, so good.
It's awesome. I love it.
We're pushing it, but I think we're there.
And I don't know why it slipped my mind, but to see the Church Avenue and the Getchell connection that will get the entire loop upgraded to the size we need, to have that fit into our funding amount is wonderful, because we've been looking for a solution to fund that, and so the fact that they could fit it in to the single project.
Yes, I included design and alternatives in the bid to do additional railroad crossings at 5th and 4th, with the hope that we would secure some legislative funding from the state, an additional about 500,000, which is about what the bids came in at, an additional 500,000 for those two pieces. We didn't get the legislative funding, and so we just won't move forward on those two other railroad crossings. But yeah, I was very happy to see that the Church and Getchell connection came in too. I was worried that I was going to have to cut that and move it to a later time or something, but.
Is there any questions on the bids or notice of intent to award or the project itself? Do I have a motion?
I move to award the contract for 5th and Stanley Waterlines project to Hayworth Incorporated Company.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to award the contract for 5th and Stanley Waterlines project to Haworth, Inc. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. Very exciting. Next, we have Historic Preservation Plan Contract Award. I don't know where, oh, there we go, the rest of my agenda. So this was the $16,000 in grant funds awarded from the Certified Local Government Grant from Oregon Parks and Recreation. And it looks like the Historic Landmarks Committee met to review 2 received proposals. And we have a recommendation in front of us to award the contract to Northwest Vernacular. Do we have anyone to speak from Historic Landmarks, or Nathan, do you want to add anything to what was presented to council?
I I don't know if I have too much. This one was pretty straightforward. An exciting grant opportunity. I was able to let all the proposers know, right, that this is really focused on recommendations and implementation steps for our Historic Landmarks Committee to kind of help them figure out how best to move forward with historic preservation, what that could look like in Amity, recommendations for community engagement, all of those kinds of things. And Northwest Vernacular, they responded very well. I mean, both proposals were great. Northwest Vernacular seemed especially excited about diving into code. So it should be a good one. I've heard good things about them from other cities that have used them in the past.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to award the City of Amity Historic Preservation Plan contract to Northwest Vernacular and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract based on their proposal. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. And our last item of new business that you all have been waiting for is Amity on the Map contract award. So in June, the city of Amity was awarded $120,000 from Travel Oregon to put together a local walking and digital tour experience. We are also committed to providing an additional $30,000 in available funding that comes with and from the USDA Water Project Fund for this purpose. So we put out an RFP. We received 4 solid proposals. On August 26th, the Amity Historic Landmarks Committee and the Tourism Committee both met separately to review the proposals and to work towards giving recommendations to the council. So what it looks like is there was not one agreed upon recommendation, and we got 4 very solid, great proposals. With that said, I'm going to hand this over to you, Nathan, just to kind of facilitate the discussion. As Tourism Committee Chair, Co-Chair, I was included in that discussion. I didn't hear as much about the Historic Landmarks Committee's discussion, and then Chair Thompson of the Tourism Committee, I would invite you to add anything as well.
Thank you. Yes. I think you've explained the context for the funding pretty well. We did receive the 4 proposals. All 4 seem really solid to me. They're good companies that take a different approach to it. And so really it's going to come down to, the city council at the recommendation of tourism and historic landmarks deciding which aspects of this project are the most important, and where kind of the focus should be, or how to balance that, I should say. I found it very interesting. I was part of the Historic Landmarks Committee meeting, and then talked with Stephanie, the Historic Landmarks Committee Chair, afterward. And Historic Landmarks Committee came away with one recommendation, and then I talked to Tourism Committee the next day, and theirs was I don't want to say very different, but pretty much an opposite order recommendation. And so I was like, gosh darn it, I don't have a clear ranking for the city council. Tourism Committee liked ADAPT. Historic Landmarks Committee liked formations. I will say on both committees, though, I also heard good support for Sea Reach. Sea Reach is a local company. We're familiar with their work. They helped the city put together the proposal, or at least the cost estimate, helped me kind of understand what all would go into a project like this. So they were familiar with the project. They had a good proposal. Their work sits in Amity City Park. But the other two, Adapt and Formations, they both seemed really solid to me too. And so city staff is honestly at a loss, and I'm happy to turn this one over to the city council. I do have paper copies of the 4 proposals if it helps anybody to quickly flip through or look at them. But yes, we can. I don't know why that's doing. Oh, yeah, maybe that wasn't clear. Okay. I want to give time both to Historic Landmarks Committee members that have stuck around, Tourism Committee members that have stuck around, and let this be a real discussion for these 4 proposals. And not sure how you would like to do that. But.
First, I want to ask council members, after having a chance to have a week looking, having all 4 proposals in front of you, is there any questions or anything that stands out or any clarifications you guys need on the 4 proposals, or what the task in front of you is choosing one to award the contract to?
I guess I have a question for the council. What aspect of this do you think has the most weight?
And that was kind of what we, like the tourism community, wanted to bring to council, and I want to hear historic landmarks, because we, as we were touring, were kind of looking at some proposals that to us had some strengths in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
So to us, the ADAPT proposal was really strong in the more like digital presence and that piece of it, and they didn't immediately impress us with actual physical construction, and that was the follow-up that made them sense to ask, tell us about the actual pieces that you're going to build and what those are going to be all about. Where CRH, we thought they did a really great job explaining the physical product, but didn't give us as much about the website development and the digital backup, like technical support. So in a perfect world, we would somehow get hold of those. So that, did I say that right? For certain people? Right, historic.
So, my name is Stephanie, Chair of Historic Landmarks. I have worked with Freedom before, professionally and personally. I don't know if I can say my recommendation, but I think the committee included it as number 1 formations.
It was a pretty close tie. I think we could go as number 1 from the committee, and then C-Reach was kind of a close second, but.
Yeah. Well, I guess we heard that, but why? Like, what about that company stood out, or why did your group think like this is the top choice?
So let me back up and say that the 4 proposals, each of them could have probably done a pretty good job. But there were a couple of things that I think stood out for us with formations, with the CREACH coming in second. One, both of those had identified that all of the work would be done internally, and that we felt that there was a real advantage in having all of the work done that way. One other entity was really good in technology, but we felt that they really moved in some of the other areas. And we felt that formations and CREACH both had years and years of experience. I maybe try something new that you really think is good, so as not to miss out. And I think Formations came out on the top. They had fabulous kiosks that they represented. They would do all the work internally. And we just felt that with the costs as well, it came in below the maximum amount, such that if we wanted to do anything a little bit extra in terms of the construction and rail perhaps, whatever, that there would be funds to do them. And we really felt that that was superior. The added up we felt was excellent in terms of the technology, but we really didn't feel as if they had as much of the other expertise that they would have from outside.
Any questions from council?
And tourism also identified that especially when we reached their lower kind of proposed number, left some room to maybe make up where we thought they needed to add a little bit more oomph in their digital presence.
Formations was lower as well. He's still in the historic landmark, sorry.
Thank you.
After the fact.
And then Rod or Aaron, do you have anything to add from the tourism committee perspective that hasn't been said? And then for our counselors online, I just want to check in. Do you have any questions or insight, any thoughts on these proposals or anything that stood out? Is
For
there
me,
any that
the only-
spoke to you?
The only thing that stood out was all the interference I was getting that did not allow me to hear most of that. So unfortunately, I can't really comment. I've been trying to read the proposal here because I'm not that familiar with it, but I wasn't able to hear much of what went on because of interference. I don't know where that's from.
I'm sorry, we're not hearing it on this side, so I don't know where
How
it's
to
at.
fix it.
Yeah.
So I just don't have a comment on this at the moment.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you.
And I'll reiterate what even Stephanie said, that really these four proposals were all strong. If we had only received one proposal and did any one of these, we would be happy to work with any of them.
We did feel that Formations had many years of experience in their cities and their samples were extraordinary, and we still have some work to do.
Yeah, and hearing back some of the questions we had for Nathan to reach out and hearing back, I also feel good about Formations. I do also want to bring up that both groups felt good about Sea Reach. That was kind of like number 2 for both. So that might be a way for the council to lean, but I don't know. I think the Formations proposal was really, it looked really nice. Like I don't have anything, yeah. But that was number 3 for tourism, I would say.
It was.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it received the second most first place votes.
That's a convoluted at all.
I still say buy local and shop local.
And that's a big advantage to Sea Reach, is that they're in Sharon and it's a locally handheld farm business. The only thing with Sea Reach is that they're not up to par like the others, and they're still on the scene, but they're not used because they're smaller companies. Yeah, and easy or whatever it is, just isn't as up to par with other regions here.
Okay. I mean, and that does speak to some of the concerns we had where they weren't as strong in the proposal and things like, well, there was a few things where like, well, this wasn't addressed really well, and we don't know what the plan is for this, and they weren't able to answer the follow-ups and stuff. Well, I will entertain any more discussions or questions, but soon I'm just gonna have to ask for a motion and we'll have to vote on it.
Do we want to go through council and say who we're leaning towards each member?
Well, Council President Borges, I think that you should lead us with going around and talking about if you have any that stand out to you. We'll see if we get a consensus that way.
I think that there is benefit not just to our community and state, but to us as the recipient of this by going local. I think that there is advantages to that of, you know, someone who knows our community, someone who can walk our streets, someone who can see the area personally rather than virtually. I like that there is more wiggle room in formations in C-Reach to add things like accessibility options, Braille, things like that, that I feel are important to have in this, that weren't totally addressed in all of them. So I have a leaning towards formations just in the proposal and the answers from questions back.
Councilor Shields?
Obviously no expert on any of this, but as I go through, reaction to each one of the proposals was, and this is one we didn't even talk about, is that we want to put a lot of emphasis on the virtual tour and walkthrough stuff, that I was leaning pretty hard towards ADAPT, because it seemed like they were really strong in the proposal about that stuff. If we wanted more weight on like the physical stuff, then I was leaning towards the C-Reach, because I was really impressed with what they sent as some of their examples of what they've done. And I was also surprised to see that they had 33 years of experience, which seemed like the most, but maybe I misread some of the proposals. But after hearing other people's input, it sounds like formations might be kind of a mix of the two. So I guess if I had to lean one way, I might lean towards formations, but
I think it's important to not skew totally to digital or totally to in-person. I think that having that mix is really important for now and moving forward.
Councilor Blanco?
I'm not sure. I was just flipping between both of them, and they both really seem, they both seem great.
Which
kind of
two? Formations and...
formations and C-Reach. I kind of like the physical stuff that formations has a little better, but I'm also wondering like how much of these things that I'm looking at and thinking are really neat are actually applicable to Amity. I don't know.
It's a lot of information, and then it's a lot of comparison to have to do. Councilor Luker, do you have input?
I would go with formations. I thought that their presentation was really professional. It was really easy to follow, and I just like what they brought to the table.
Thank you. And Councilor Blanco online?
I'm going to skip this for the moment simply because I don't feel I have enough comparison the way I like to view it. I haven't set it up to make a reasonable decision.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Counselor Thompson.
Since our meeting, and since Brian, or since me, was able to reach out, it's been a long week already, was able to reach out, I have changed my tune a little bit about formations from our meeting. I think my initial gut was like, it was too pretty and it felt a little too polished, and that was almost a turn on, and I had to check myself a little bit and realize why I had reacted the way that I had, and I think that was partly, just your follow-up with that, it's like, oh, you're not doing small for us, we do actually really want to work with these smaller municipalities, all next year, so I think I am more comfortable with them than I was.
Okay. And I feel like I'm hearing consensus around there. And my feelings mirror a lot of what you just said. And I think sometimes it's hard because you have time leading up to do all the reading, and then you go to the first meeting being like, okay, these are my thoughts. Then you have those couple hours to hear everyone else's, and then you still need time for it to sink in. So Counselor Thompson and I are a few steps ahead of you all, just with that group talk, even though we got the same, prep time to look at the proposals. I'm hearing quite a bit of consensus around formations. Is that something that everyone would be comfortable calling to a vote now, whether or not you're set or not? Do you think we could get to where we need to be? Okay. Do I have a motion?
What's their timing? Because I've just been saying formations.
Isn't that-
Is it just formations? Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I move to award the Amity on the map contract to formations and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract based on their proposal provided.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to award the Amity on the map contract to formations and authorize the city administrator to execute a contract based on their proposal. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passes. Thank you all for sitting through the meeting for that agenda item. We appreciate your presence and your input and the work you do on your committees. This is really exciting, and we have a timeline right in front of us now, so it's gonna happen. Nothing else for new business. We'll move on to department reports. I do not have those in front of me in my single screen. But Nathan, is there anything you want to highlight or add?
Just want to call out, August was a pretty fun month. National Night Out was a big success. We had a good number of people out there, eating hot dogs and getting a chance to visit with our fire department and our sheriff's deputies. August 16th was the Amity Library Summer Reading Program celebration. That's always a fun time. Heather, my wife, and I were able to serve ice cream to all the kids and families who participated, and we enjoyed doing that. Let's see.
That was a good turnout too, it looked like.
It was, yeah. We blew through our ice cream, which last year we did not get through. Last year we bought 4 gallons and didn't get through 2 of them. So this year we only bought 2 gallons and blew through them. So
There was still enough for everyone, and some seconds were had, but it was gone by 11
I would say
a.m.
we did have one family show up that I think didn't get any, that came a little later. So trying to find that balance. I'm happy to buy more ice cream, though, if it means more people are coming and participating. So,
3 gallons next year.
yeah, there we go. The big one is the middle school's complete. Hallelujah. They were right up to the edge, with, you know, the water line, paving, and crosswalks out in the street. There was a lot going on that last week, but I'm glad that it all got done, and that we have a new water line in Oak Street now. I know because I saw that we've abandoned a water line that had multiple leaks in it, so that's good. The new water line is solid and in a good spot. The other big thing, on Monday, the 18th of August, the Planning Commission held a work session on the city's proposed comprehensive plan. I sent out the draft documents to them a couple of weeks in advance, and then the commissioners sent me any questions that they had about the draft approximately a week ahead of the meeting itself. I put together a PowerPoint presentation basically highlighting those questions and then answering them. I'd love to plan on a work session with the City Council in September about the comprehensive plan. Again, pushing it out to the community, trying to engage and encourage as many people to attend as possible. We had a few community members at that Planning Commission meeting, a few that I didn't expect, that I had never seen before. So that was kind of interesting to get some feedback from people that I didn't know. But if we can plan on that for our September work session, I will send out the comprehensive plan draft that I have, as well as the questions and answers from the Planning Commission. And then if anybody from the City Council has questions that you want me to be able to answer in the work session, if you can send me them at least like a week ahead of time, that gives me time to formulate good answers instead of just here at the microphone. So I think that works a little better when I can do that. Other than that, I'm happy to get through all of those contract awards. We had a lot of them this month. A lot of procurement efforts. I'm excited to move that forward.
Any questions? Tasha, we have your report. Do you have anything to add?
Just 2 things. So I will not be at the work session. I will be in New Orleans. Mona will be covering that, so she will be ecstatic about that. She'll be able to talk about.
I
Might
mean,
be good.
she was there for the Planning
Yeah,
Commission,
so
so
she'll
it
know.
makes sense.
And then just the reminder for the upcoming movie in the park next Friday, and Amity Fire donated half towards the movie, so just shout out to them for doing that.
So do we know who will be available to be there and set up in any of that?
I will be out of town.
I will be there.
I'll be there
Popcorn
as well.
supplies are ready to go. I mean, they're all ready to go.
I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay, great. Well, dusk is earlier, so we won't have to wait till 9:15 to start the movie, so that'll be great. And then I saw that it was posted on the city Facebook, so I'll try to share that more widely
Yeah,
on
and
social media.
I forgot to, I think the fire department's gonna try to have a fire truck out there, and then hang up a sign just to support your local volunteers, but I think they're planning on being out there.
Okay, great.
Did the reader board say that there is a date for the citywide cleanup?
I don't touch the reader board, so I
I thought I read on there.
Mona's really good about the newsletter, and she'll go
October
over
12th.
the
October
events.
12th,
Yeah,
okay.
so
11.
it's still
11,
yeah.
October 11th.
So we don't post anything on the reader board that,
Isn't in the.
yeah, so 2 weeks before an event, she'll put it on there.
I also
Yeah.
haven't officially received confirmation from Ecology just yet, but the grant application has been submitted. I haven't heard any issues with it. We're more than a month in advance. I think it's going to be just fine, but just wanted to reiterate that I haven't quite received.
They're
And this is
doing
the
that
last
through the
one
end
that-
of the year, right?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
grant, okay.
Yes.
But we are confirmed on that date, October 11th. Like, that's happening regardless?
No,
Oh,
that's the
okay.
part that's not technically confirmed yet. I haven't gotten word back from Ecology that they can be there for October 11th. I'm working on that. As far as, I haven't heard any issues and haven't heard any complaints, so I think it'll be fine. Their system mostly just says, make sure we know 30 days in advance. Fall tends to be less packed for them than spring. Spring cleanup tends to be a little more popular, I think, so.
And we'll send out a flyer with every bill again, so what the, yeah, so everyone will.
Well, I've already like rescheduled some important stuff to be available on that day, so when we make sure it's confirmed, can I know?
I will, yes.
Okay.
I'll send out an email when I have it completely confirmed.
Okay.
Like I said, I submitted the request today. So they should let me know within a few days, and I can follow up in a different route to see if I can just confirm the
Yeah,
date.
okay, sounds good. And then I also saw that you're trying to get a lead on the ball I dropped about the mattress drop off as well, potentially having a mattress collection separate.
Trying,
So,
yeah. At the last community cleanup, we also had MAC Habitat for Humanity, the restore there.
They pulled a lot of stuff.
And they
Yeah.
pulled a lot of stuff aside.
And the
Plastic
plastic
recycling
project, yeah.
project. They had some good outreach there. So I invited MAC Habitat back. I still need to invite the plastic project back. But then I also reached out to a mattress recycling council to see if they would also like to have like a box there to pick up mattresses.
Is that the one in Tigard?
So I know they were going to Willamina's cleanup event. It's a new, semi-new
Yeah,
type
I saw
program.
some flyers about like,
Yeah,
there's a permanent one in
Oh,
Tigard
okay.
as well now.
nice.
And you'll try to get.
I will be out of town. Maybe my better half can join. Check in.
Um, Public Works report, we've been out a little. We have a lot going on in Public Works. Nathan, anything to really update? I know they've been busy. We're on top of everything. We've caught some leaks.
Yes, let me provide kind of an update on where we're at with our public works superintendent. We received a couple of applications. None of them were quite up to the desired experience and qualifications that we wanted, mostly certifications that we wanted for that public works superintendent. I've talked with a lot of other cities. I've looked around. My understanding and kind of assumption is that if we wanted somebody that fit the bill for the public works superintendent with the, level 2s and other things like that, or level 2 certifications and other things like that, and the experience that we were looking for, they're already getting paid a lot more in another city, like a lot more. And so we kind of, we had a couple of different options. We thought about trying to raise the salary and keep advertising. But I wanted to recognize the leadership potential that we have in our own crew, as well as the interest that we have in people to learn. And so I kind of stepped back and rethought the position and created a public works manager position. Basically, a day-to-day manager that's going to continue to run operations, but will work closely with the city administrator, with myself, on budgeting, some of the more department head activities, trying to strike that balance of we have people that understand the operations and can continue to do that work, but the ultimate goal is to hand off some of the budgeting, hand off some of the capital planning, and really have somebody strong there for that superintendent role. The public works manager position that we created has a slightly lower salary. We didn't lower the salary much, since that's about in line with well, even still, maybe a little low. But we offered it to our 2 internal employees because they had both applied for the superintendent position. Still waiting to hear back on that. If they're both interested, we'll move forward with interviews with both of them. And assuming one of them kind of fits what I'm looking for, then we'll move one of them to the public works manager position and open up for a utility worker position, which we have had a lot of interest in. We've had a lot of people come in and ask if the city's hiring anybody, and we've said yes, but you need all these certifications. So kind of shifted that a little bit, hoping to get somebody there in the public works manager position that really wants to learn and build their certification level, develop that understanding of budgeting and all of the rest, all of that management piece, and that within a few years we can budget for and then bump them up a step to be a full department head with a more in-line salary.
Will that still be a union position?
No, so it's not a union
It's
position.
exempt.
Union positions can't supervise other union positions. So we gave the manager enough supervision responsibility that it's not a union position. We'll still maintain our 2 union utility workers, but the manager will not be a union position.
So will we still have to retain outside consultant for reporting requirements if they're not certified, and we're talking about doing that? That's a big expense.
It is. Our DRC on the wastewater side right now, and right now I've contracted with them to, I'm sorry for that feedback. I don't know where it's coming from. We've contracted with the DRC on the wastewater side to provide some additional work and supervision. Essentially, they're coming to the city of Amity and working a full day each month. It's a lot more than the previous DRC on the wastewater side. It's using it to train our employees on lab analysis, tackle projects. They're helping write things like emergency response programs. A lot of that more managerial side that hopefully the public works superintendent will eventually be able to do. That under 2,000 a month. But so it is a big expense. Unfortunately, unless we paid somebody like the 85 or 90,000 that we would probably need to pay to get that level 2 on the wastewater side, we're going to have to pay for that DRC. And you know, if time goes by and we have a good handle on everything going on the wastewater side, to reduce that, they're happy to reduce that 1 day a month work back down to their standard like couple hours. But that's where we're at right now. Our wastewater side's facing some struggles, and so I've kind of beefed up or amped up the support on that side.
And it sounds like you would be taking on more workload of that position as well. Is that something that is doable in a long term, or?
It's all things that I've already been doing. So,
That's
so
why I said long term.
I would say for the foreseeable future, yes. And the hope is, like I said, the hope is that I'm training that public works manager, handing more and more things their way, and that as soon as they get to the point where either they have the certifications or they're doing enough of the management responsibility that I can say, hey, this is your department now. We bump them up to superintendent, and a lot of that's off me. But in the meantime, yes, essentially I'm putting somebody in that manager position to keep the department running. I'm assuming some more of that kind of oversight, both to not hold somebody accountable for stuff that they're not doing, and just to kind of balance that responsibility.
Because I see the detriment to us if we hire into that superintendent position someone that's not qualified, just because we're paying them lower. then you're saying, these are all your responsibilities and liabilities that we're gonna hold you to, but we know that you're not competent. So, I think it's a step in the right direction.
I just worry about it stretching to a very long-term situation that's not sustainable. But I see the vision and I see the plan.
Will you just continue to keep us updated, and then maybe once we have a manager on board, maybe they can give a public works report.
They certainly can. I suppose I should be doing that since I'm kind of acting as interim, but
I feel like we get the overview of public works throughout, so just keep us apprised, please.
okay.
I appreciate once we have that person, really like thought out timeline of how that transfer, like goal dates, like target dates for some of that transfer work, so to speak.
Or expect.
Essentially a training plan.
Any other public works questions for the evening? Okay. We saw a library report, the city engineer billing report, city attorney and planner billing report. Any questions, concerns?
With the new planner on board, is it additional cost to us for onboarding him, getting him up to speed for all the new projects and involvement, or?
I mean, there hasn't really been much onboarding. Honestly, Jim is really fast. He's kind of aware of what's been going on in Amity. I think he was here briefly before Holly was. Again, 5 or 6 years ago, but he's pretty.
Saw that hefty bill in the.
He's pretty sharp. The prices for planning have gone up, and I'm trying to think of what all was on this last
So he
one.
is $13 an hour more as a senior planner. But also it just looked like there was a lot
of
consultation.
interface, yeah.
And there might have been.
I wasn't sure if that was onboarding or just things actually happening. And
I
so-
think it was just, in my mind, it was in line with a trend of a busy month.
Okay.
Like just a lot of separate things happening at the same time.
Okay,
Comp
I
plan
didn't have time to like
update.
look back and compare, but I just saw that and wanted to ask.
Lot line adjustment. Yeah, we have the couple things for the school district. Yeah, a lot of that's for the school district. And so that will all be billed to the school district, to the applicant. There were a few other things too, like site plans and comp plan update. But yeah, really that's not most of that's the school district, because we received a conditional use permit and a site design review, so that was definitely a little more work for him on that, but that should all be billed to the school district.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the home stretch of business from the mayor and city councilors, and we'll start with our council president, Melissa Borges.
Nothing to add. Oh, do you want me to talk about it? No, nothing to add. I'm good.
Oh no, now I'm like, what?
We talked about it last time, the movie in the park.
Okay.
Yeah. My brain's mush.
Counselor Caleb Shields.
I have nothing to add.
Counselor Alice. Counselor Reed.
Nothing.
Counselor Stanley.
You're not here.
Counselor, anything to add?
Sorry, Mayor King, bunch of interference there. Nothing at this time.
Okay. And Counselor Michael Blanco, anything for the
Nothing to
good of
add.
the order? All right. Okay, well.
Motion to adjourn?
No, I
Oh,
have.
you have to do yours.
No.
That's right. Sorry.
Real quick. So just a few highlights. We had the staff council barbecue. That was great. I also hosted a Marion, Polk, and Yamhill County Mayor's Barbecue. So out of the 40-ish invites, we had about a dozen people show up. But that's okay. It's a busy time of year. It's the first time we've done it. The previous Independence mayor made it a point to always invite all of the county mayors to his house. He no longer being there, Mayor Malcolmson and I said, we got to do something. So we had that at Amity Park. I do, per our council rules, need to report to you all that I turn in a receipt for $29.90 to supplement some of the cost that I put out to put that on. But that was a good time. We're gonna plan again, and then next time we're gonna have our invites go out through the COG instead of us just like cold emailing all these people. So that was good. We have a town hall coming up with Commissioner King on September 11th. That's just like a Q&A. He's gonna come be here for citizen input. I was invited to be on Representative Elmer's podcast, which is a new one for me. I've never done a podcast, so that'll just be talking about what's going on here and who knows what. But I'm excited for that, excited for Amity. And then I wanted to share about something that is happening in Independence. I had my husband send me a picture because I forgot to file it. So it is The Wall That Heals. It's a Vietnam Veterans Memorial replica and a model education center. So that is coming to Independence September 18th through 21st. It travels around the United States. They're gonna have, well, there's more information and a website, and I'll bring the flyer up here to City Hall. But we were all invited to take part in that, and they wanted us to share it up here because it's not something that, can travel to every city. And so when it's bestowed upon a region, it's a really cool thing to be part of. So I would encourage you all to check it out. I will actually send the digital copy out, and then we'll get flyers up. And I think
Thank you, Tasha, and Mona. I don't know who organized the whole thing, but I think you did a big part of it for the barbecue. That was a lot of fun.
It's always fun.
okay. So now I will entertain a final motion.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion and second. All those in favor of adjournment at 8:57, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.